Hi, and welcome back to EOA. This week we are going to begin talking about organizational structures. Organizational structures are how the text is written in a nonfiction text or book. So, in order to find out what type of organizational pattern or structure, we are going to use something called the what and so what strategy. Okay. Whoops. Go to the next slide. There we go. Oops. Wait. Go back. Okay. So there are 5 organizational structures. We have a description. Then we have chronological, sequence, or order. They are 3 different names, but they all mean the same thing. You just never know how it's going to be presented to you in a question. So you need to make sure that you remember that chronological, sequence, and order all mean the same thing. Then we have a cause and effect, problem solution, and then we have compare and contrast. Today we are going to be going over description and chronological sequence or order structures. I am going to show you how to use the strategy to write a summary or even to write, you're going to use this type of strategy to write your essays, your informational essays. That is why we're going over this. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start with a description. So some of the signal words that you're going to look for are going to be, for example, for instance, characteristics include, specifically, in addition. Anything that you can use to describe, a transition word to describe something. Okay. The visual here is your little graphic organizer that you are going to use to help jot down those description items, okay, the characteristics. I'm going to show you how to do this on the computer. However, if you prefer to write out your little graphic organizer, you are more than welcome to do that. Just remember to upload your picture to the assignment so that we know that you did use the strategy the way we are showing you. Okay, so description. So let's start with an example. So this little paragraph is called coconuts. A coconut is a tropical fruit. It comes from Asia originally, but it grows in Puerto Rico, Hawaii, Central America, and South America. A coconut grows on a coconut palm, which looks like a palm but actually is taller and has more leaves. The coconut appears to be shades of brown and has a hairy shell. On the inside, there is a watery liquid called coconut milk. After you break through the shell, you find what it's called the coconut meat. Both the meat and the milk are white. Dried coconut meat is called copra. The coconut is a very interesting fruit. So, just by listening to a little paragraph, you know that this is talking all about the coconut, right? So, let's go on to our strategy. So, what? Honestly, it's just the topic. What? What was this passage about? It was about coconuts, right? So, what? Well, what about the coconuts did we learn? Well, we learned that they come from Asia. They grow on palm trees. What else? They have coconut milk. They have a hairy shell. What does it say about these? We got the coconut milk. Did I put the coconut milk on there? Yep. The hairy shell. They grow on the palm. Oh, it's a tropical fruit. Whoops. Tropical Great. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to use the little graphic organizer. Okay, I'm gonna just kind of move this over to the side. I know, sorry, it looks kind of confusing and I probably should have done this. Okay, so if you come to the insert and you see these little things here, you should be able to find the little think bubble. Let's see. I don't see it here. It's okay. Well, I guess this is fine. We know that the coconuts come from Asia. They grow on a palm tree. Let me edit my work. Come from Asia. They grow on palm trees. Period. They have coconut milk. Period. They have a hairy shell. Period. Okay. So now just pretend this was on our little graphic organizer there. So the coconut would be in our middle, right? And then all of these would be out on our outer little thinking bubbles, okay? So now what? So we know that this is coconut, about coconuts. We know this is about the details, right? A description of it. So now we got to write our summary. So we are still going to use the Tamio. So the text type, the author, their action, their main idea, important information, and the organization. Remember, the organization, that just means we need to use some of the key words from this type of organizational structure to really show the reader that you know exactly the type of writing that you just did. Okay, so here we have, let's go ahead and get started with our coconuts. So it says, in the passage, the author describes coconuts, period. Coconuts, now we're going to the main idea. Coconuts, I'm going to come back over here. Let me see. I'm going to say that the coconut is a very interesting fruit. Coconuts are very interesting fruits. Now, we got to do our important information. I'm going to come back over here to look at my keywords. For example, for instance, characteristics include, specifically, in addition. Okay, I'm going to come back here and look at my details. They come from Asia, they grow on trees, they have coconut milk, they have a hairy shell, and it's a tropical fruit. Okay, so in the passage, the author describes coconuts. Coconuts are a very interesting fruit. Some characteristics of a coconut include having meat called copra, they have a hairy shell, and they are a tropical fruit. And there we go. So my summary is, in the passage, the author describes coconuts. Coconuts are very interesting fruits. I'm going to put coconuts are a very interesting fruits. Some characteristics of a coconut include having meat called copra, they have a hairy shell, and they are a tropical fruit. Easy, right? I think it is. We're going to move on to our next one, which is chronological sequence or order. Okay, so this one also kind of easy. Think of like a timeline, beginning, middle, end. So some of our clue words here are keywords: before, in the beginning, to start, first, next, during, after, then, finally, last, in the middle, in the end. Okay, so remember, chronological, sequence, order all mean the same thing. So let's read our paragraph. Okay, so this one is called The Lazy Student. When Tim woke up, he didn't want to go to school. His mom took him anyway. So he went to school, but he didn't do any work. The days passed, and Tim still didn't do any work. Mr. Morton called Tim's house, but Tim still wouldn't do any work. Finally, the report cards came out, and Tim failed his classes. Tim was sad. Interesting. All right. So now here we come to our what, so what. So who or what was this little passage about? It was about Tim. What about Tim? Okay, well, let's see. Let's think about what it said. So he didn't want to go to school. Right? When his mom dropped him off, he still, what does it say? When his mom dropped him off, he didn't do any work. His teacher called his mama. And then he ended up failing the grading period. Tim was sad. Poor Tim made a bad choice. Okay. Now we write our summary. So again, the text type, the author, the action, the main idea, information, and organization. Okay, so let's go back and look at our little transition words: before, in the beginning, to start, first, next, then, after, in the middle, and the end. Okay. So we're going to say again, in the passage, the author tells us the events that led to Tim not passing his classes. First of all, he didn't even want to go to school. When he was at school, he didn't do any of his work. Finally, the teacher, I think his name was Mr. Morton. Mr. Morton called his parents, but nothing really changed. He still didn't do his work, and he ended up failing, and he ended up getting a bad report card. All right, in the passage, the author tells us the events that led to Tim not passing his classes. First of all, he didn't even want to go to school. When he was at school, he didn't do any of his work. Finally, Mr. Morton called his parents, but nothing really changed. He still didn't do his work, and he ended up getting a bad report card. Okay, so see how easy it is? We're still able to use our strategy. We are using some keywords. We are bringing it up into the topic so that you are able to identify and able to write according to the text structure. Okay, so now that I have shown you two different text structures, it's going to be your turn. Okay, what you are going to do, you are going to look at the next couple of slides. On the next couple of slides, you are going to find your assignment. You're going to read the paragraphs and you're going to use the what and so it strategy. I'm not going to tell you what the passages are. You're going to have to try and decide based on the keywords that you find, okay? But I am going to tell you your option is either going to be chronological or description, okay? Then you're going to use the Tamio strategy to do your paragraph. When you are finished, all you're going to do is you are going to turn it in. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. Send me an email, send me a Google Hangout, send me something to let me know you need help. Okay. Also, don't forget, we have office hours on Wednesday. So keep that in mind. All right. Let's get to work, everybody. Bye.